Hey guys, welcome back. Oh man, do I have a treat for you guys today. It's going to be another long video, so if your attention span is not great, make sure to 2x or go do something else, I guess, if you don't want to know all the details. I'm going to include them. I always try to include everything that's relevant. If you don't like that, eat a fat one. So, apparently Jacob, aka Card Kahuna, needs a reminder that I cannot predict the contents of the box, and I never claimed that I could. I don't know what's inside the case. I would never guarantee that the contents of the box are not first edition base, just like someone shouldn't have authenticated the box in the first place. No one knows what's inside there until it's opened. That being said, I believe that the odds of it containing first edition base are slim to none. But reminder, very clear reminder, these videos are all just my opinion and no one has to agree with it and is free to formulate their own. The box currently belongs to Logan Paul and he can do as he wishes with it if he wants to open it, which he seems like he does. By all means, go to town. But don't feel like you have to take my advice. I'd love to see what's inside. I think that's the best option. But again, not an advisor. Never talk to him. So if he wants to open it, he can go right to town. If anyone wants advice, I'm happy to provide it. But again, the advice will be my opinion. I can offer that advice free of charge, just as I'm offering this detective work free of charge. Do with it as you will. Alright, so you might be taking a look at what's behind me here. I thought this was appropriate since the booster case has become the epitome of this meme. The more you look at it, the worse it gets. In this video, we're going to take a look at some information from Gary. More details wrong with the case. Yes, there's more that's wrong with the case. I've had a ton of comments, more time to look at it. We're going to really dial up the CSI to 10, maybe even 11. Take a look at what's wrong with it. Seems like pretty much everything. Spoiler alert. We got some weird behavior from Mealy Pops, the Pokaju, and Card Kahuna. So we're gonna dive into that a little bit. We have a couple nice examples of the Pokemon authentication work done by BBCE. And more sketchy details about the original seller. So buckle up. I'll have links to the first two videos in the description. I suggest you watch those first. You probably have a better idea of what's going on. So let's start off with Gary. I reached out to him. What else can he tell us other than the case is in storage and he has not looked at it recently? So I wouldn't expect him to give us any small details. If he's not comfortable doing so, there's no point in making him guess what the details on the label were. We do have this image, thankfully, so we can at least check the stop tape, which does not match the box currently. We've already looked at that though. Card Kahuna Jacob was concerned with the little white piece that's on the left side here, thinking that was the label, the first edition base, or the product label. I don't know if that is. Gary doesn't know if that is. That could be a piece of a shipping label. I would find it really odd to believe, or hard to believe, that they would remove the product label. I don't think that's a thing. But again, we don't know. I can't confirm that. Gary can't confirm that. So we have to move on. This might seem extremely odd, but no one involved in these transactions reached out to Gary at any point. I don't know if they didn't understand that he was the only one with a confirmed case. Maybe after the initial transactions, everyone was just relying on the BBCE authentication. But weird. All around weird. I know Card Kahuna Jacob seemed to not really know who Gary was. Maybe none of them understood or knew that Gary had a case, a half-open case of confirmed first edition base. Your guess is as good as mine, but also weird that Logan didn't reach out to him either. you would think making a purchase like this. I'm sure Gary would be happy to elaborate or give his opinion on it. I think you should get more than just Gary's opinion on this, but maybe that's me. All right, let's take a look at the cases. We've already done this, but there's stuff that we missed. I'm only one person. I had a lot of people say, hey, why didn't you notice this stuff before? Why weren't you investigating this before Logan had it? I'm only one guy doing this in my free time. I'm sorry, I guess. I don't know. Here it is. Here it is. So we take a look at it here. Very interesting. There's the eBay picture. Here's the bottom side of both. A lot of this could be coincidences. Stuff might change over time. There wasn't very much time in between the first edition base print and the later prints of Unlimited. I guess shadowless if you include the fact that they weren't stamped. But I don't think there was enough time in between to change basically everything. There's a whole lot going on here that isn't the same. We see here the markings on the box are different. We have the measurements on the box are the same, but in a different location. So the box itself is not correct or matching what would be the Unlimited print run of the same product. Little differences all over. Again, the stop tape, more space in between. We got the period here. I've never seen stop tape like this on a WotC product. If someone has one, I'd be glad to look at it. But little bit damning here. One thing, sure. When everything's different, maybe not. So here we go. We got some differences here. And you put these side by side and you wonder, okay, so they have the same number here, which is probably to do with the print run or facility or both. Batch, maybe, batch number. So maybe they were printed in the same facility, which is even worse for the sake of the inconsistencies between the two boxes. Here we have a fossil box, so keep this in mind. The label on this looking much like the Unlimited base box. Probably not too many changes that they make over time. Now what gets interesting here, and I'd have to say thank you to Kichigo Games. She helped me with this. We worked on this. She's a great artist. And if you haven't, check out her YouTube channel. We got Met 7. We got eBay. If we take the two boxes and we make them the same size, we overlap the boxes so that everything else should stay consistent, we get some interesting information. We can already see here, this is looking a little bit sketchy already in terms of differences between the two boxes, but let's get into it. So here we go. We got the number to analyze. The 7-digit number on both boxes is the same, the Unlimited and the first edition box here. I've never seen two numbers that are identical. In this case they are. There might be a reason for that. Here's the Met 7, and again, they're the same size. We're just going to align everything and overlap them. Here's what we end up with. So the stop tape is wrong, or different, I should say. Stop tape is different. Label is different. Numbers are different. Box is different. So here, these should be almost identical if they were done with the same stamp for this number. And we can see here, there's clearly a gigantic difference in this. I'm not sure how they stamped this onto the boxes, but surely sort of odd that it's not the same size or the same font. Something's wrong here. Here we go. We got the eBay label, as we've seen. Then we have the Met 7 label. We take these two, we give those a little merge. The label is not the same size. The font is different. The placement and spacing is different. This is a completely different label. There would be some sort of format to make sure this is all relatively in the same place. If there was more text or something, it might shrink down or push something a little bit. But this is all around different. This is like from a different printer altogether. Before I was thinking that maybe the label was erased, but now I don't know. Something is seriously wrong here. I don't know if they were able to actually check if a label was removed or put back on. I don't know how accurate that is. But if it was, I don't think it's totally out of the question. This could be a whole different box, a whole new box, new label, maybe with a scan of the barcode of Base Unlimited, and then these details added with the font being different. They might have a printer. It'd be really nice to see this in person to know if this is a thermal label. If so, you can buy a thermal printer. They're not expensive. This number up here, also way off. How that's off, your guess is as good as mine, but it almost seems like the entire box or the entire case could have been fabricated to look like a first edition base box. Can you get your hands on these? I wasn't able to find one, but that doesn't mean that they aren't out there somewhere. Something really comparable, but slightly different enough that we can pick up on all this stuff. Now, I've seen this on Alpha Investments quite a few times where he looks at fake Magic cards, and typically to get the gloss off of them or to make them more believable, people will intentionally rub them to make it look like there's play on the card if it's an expensive card. If it's an old card, to make it look like an old card rather than just a fake Chinese counterfeit. These lines that are on the box here, they're all kind of in one direction, almost look a little bit like they might be intentional. Did they intentionally get the box dirty and rub it around where they're sliding all around this side? Did they just slide it back and forth to try and age this number here? I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. I don't think it's out of the question that the entire case could be illegitimate. This was posted on E4 by Cosrob, and it is a case of blister packs, first edition blister packs, and we can see here there's no indication on the label that they're first edition. It is still my belief that there was no indication, there was no 1E or with first edition marked on these first edition products. This is an exact case that we need to look at in order to confirm, but I think it's another clue, or at least something to lead us to believe the first edition was never marked on the labels or cases. This label is significantly darker. With these other products that weren't the booster cases, they had, I don't know if it's a thermal label or if they actually used ink on these ones, but they're always darker. All right, the boys that made the initial transaction are acting really strange. I'm not going to say that they're guilty by any means, but they certainly are acting suspicious. I'm open to discuss any of this with anyone that disagrees with me. If you think that there's first edition base inside, by all means, show me what you think. I had Mealy Pops super angry, and then he blocked me, which is interesting. Then we have the Pokaju. The Pokaju had some kind words for me. I'll give it a scroll through here, and you guys can take a look. I'll scroll through the comments here so you can read them if you see fit. He seems quite upset. I think that's pretty funny. You'll have to pause it probably to catch some of that. The short of it, Charizard King thinks it should be private information. Well, I've got news for you. No one is paying me to do this. And I'm doing this for the purposes of educating everyone in the hobby, not select individuals. I don't care if most people can't afford this case. if it is real or was real. Doesn't matter. This can apply to smaller transactions as well. We'll see in, I guess, the next episode why that's important. Whether someone's a big spender or not, it doesn't matter. They should have access to all this information. And my opinion is free of charge. Alright, so he is criticizing my research, but at the same time refuses to show any of his own. He says he did research on this. I don't think he did that much research on it. That or potentially hiding something. But we'll see. He did hide something. That's coming out. Don't worry. He thinks I'm clout chasing. It's kind of weird from someone that posts the pictures of Logan Paul on their Instagram when he's walking with the Charizard. I don't think this is clout chasing. I think I'm just exposing, or at least giving my opinion on what might be exposing counterfeit, reseal, fake, whatever you want to call it, whatever it turns out to be. This has red flags up and down, left and right, all over it. If you can't see that, if you don't like what I'm saying, feel free to discuss it with me. If you'd like, we can hop on a call, we can record a video, and you can tell me all about how I'm wrong. Until then, or I guess until the box gets opened, we'll see. So it's weird here that you're calling people dumb, small-minded, etc. You're going to throw insults, but at the same time, you're not going to prove that you actually know what you're talking about. I'm showing you everything that I know. Why can't you do the same? Wouldn't that make sense? It really seems here, too, that you want to keep it sealed. There's a lot of that emphasis on the front half of the transactions that went on here, on the front end. It seems like everyone's really pushing the fact that this should stay sealed. Let's put 6 layers of wrap on it. Make sure that it stays sealed forever. You guys hiding something? I don't know. We'll find out. Well, what else? He was mad about the flipper, being called a flipper who did no research. Well, I'm sorry, but you seem a lot like a flipper that did no research. And that it was either that or you're acting in bad faith. You choose. I don't know. We'll find out. We're gonna find out. If it turns out to be fake, I think maybe we should start calling you Collectibles Guru. I'd like to take credit for that when it happens. And I'll do it with a smile on my face. And then we have Alex at the end here chiming in about defending him. It's really weird that the only people that think this box is legitimate and that it doesn't need to be open are this group of friends. I haven't heard from anyone, any of the big collectors, the really knowledgeable folks. I haven't heard a single thing about how this is a legitimate case and it shouldn't be open. I don't know if that's saying something. I would think that people would tell me if I was way off the mark on this. None of that so far. It's kind of weird, right? What do we have here? Is that a DM between the Pikachu and PSA Pikachu? It sure is. What is this? The Pikachu knew about the multiple backstories? Here it is. Warning. Right around the same time that it was being sold to Shine, we have PSA Pikachu warning the Pikachu that there are multiple stories. But he did all the due diligence, man. Doesn't really even matter what the story is. Well, yeah, it kind of matters. There's 3 stories. That matters. We're going to see a whole lot of other stuff that matters as well. I'm going to go ahead and assume that you did not tell BBCE about this, about these multiple stories. You knew this stuff, but you didn't disclose it because it would hurt the value and it would discredit the box. Did you tell? I'm going to go ahead and assume that the purchase, when the purchase was made, after the purchase was made, none of you actually came out and disclosed the fact that the original seller had multiple stories. You just get that wrap on it and flip that bad boy, right? No one will open it. Certainly Logan Paul won't end up with it. He's not going to open it. That'd be wild. The case is authentic, and even in that story, there is nothing shady that makes it seem like the case was ever tampered with. So this is the board story, as we've seen before. I'm sorry, there's a lot of shady stuff going on. Even if this was the only story, and there weren't two others, maybe even more, that we haven't seen. This is shady. This is weird. This is a red flag. This should have been disclosed to BBCE. Not that that would matter in their authentication process if it was legitimate, if it was credible. Again, if you believe in the process, if you think they're doing a great job, by all means. It's my opinion that they don't know what they're doing. I'm going to show you why I think that, but that's it's up to you. You decide. So take note of this. This was on April 7th, the same day that PSA Pikachu had sent those DMs to the Pokeju. So transactions going on. There's no need to cancel it or hold off, anything like that. They probably already knew that there were multiple stories, but now they definitely know. The stories that were sent they would have known there was 3 versions, because the third version that we found out actually came from this group of boys, the original purchasers. No way they told anyone about it. Oh, Jacob is painfully inconsistent with what he says. He told me that he also purchased 2 other cases from the seller, shadowless and 4th print base. Isn't it weird that it wasn't shown in the videos? Wouldn't him and Mealy want to get it at the same time and flex them, show them off? So apparently he purchased the shadowless case at the same time, but didn't have them shipped together. Isn't that kind of weird? The first ed base case was sent to the game store and the shadowless to his house. Why wouldn't you send them together? Who knows? Seems a little off. Seems a little weird. He also told me that he didn't have money for the 4th print case, so purchased that later on. Or I guess he didn't have the funds available or freed up, I think was his wording. Who knows? He keeps deleting his messages. So can we reference that now? Maybe not. Basically, his messages are filled with lies. He deletes messages. There's inconsistencies all over the place. There's a lot of stuff that just doesn't make sense. Here he is freaking out, but other times he helps me with information. So I don't know. I'm getting some big time pathological liar vibes, but he assured me that he isn't. So I don't know. I guess that's not really a question that you can ask somebody that tends to lie all the time. So is that like, can I get a real answer? Maybe not. Maybe the answer is always no. So here we go. We got the freak out. This is today's freak out. He says, "Don't worry about me, buddy. Worry about you. I'm rich, young man worth over 150 mil. So if you're worth 150 mil, how is it you had all of that 150 mil tied up and couldn't afford the 3rd booster case? It's kind of weird. Also, maybe a little bit concerning that if you couldn't afford that additional case, maybe you can't afford to refund your buyer. I don't know. That's your situation, not mine. I'm not going to speculate on that any further. The definition lawsuit will be for all business I lost in due to your video. I'm going to say that you probably didn't lose any business. You got a tiny YouTuber here who's just showing a story. I'm showing the red flags on an extremely large purchase that was made by someone I've never talked to. If I don't know what to tell you, it's my opinion. If you don't like my opinion, just don't watch the videos. Not many people do. Alright, you cut a podcast video of me that was 2 hours long and took a snippet that I said and made it out of context. I'm 10,000% sure this case is real. So if you're 10,000% sure the case is real and Logan's gonna open it, why are you freaking out? But first of all, you can't be 10,000% sure it's real. I'm not 10,000% sure that it's not. I'm quite certain that it isn't, in my opinion. Again, in my opinion. Chill out, Jacob. It's gonna be all right. So I asked him, what was out of context? None of the clips were out of context. He says himself, he said it multiple times, that he doesn't know anything about Pokemon, or he knows very little. I'm just showing that the people involved in these transactions are not experts. They should have reached out to experts. Experts would have told them, open the case. You gotta open the case. Or they would have said, don't purchase the case to begin with. There's no one in their right mind that would have purchased the case with the amount of red flags that it had in the beginning. It's too much money that you're probably never going to get back. So here he says, listen, start talking to a lawyer, and a good one. All right, so now we're gonna threaten me, because mine don't lose. So I say 150 million, but you couldn't afford a fourth print base case. Weird. Not that I couldn't afford, it's about being smart. What's up? You were gonna buy it eventually anyway, according to your story. So I don't understand what being smart has to do with it. So he says, not that I couldn't afford, it's about being smart and making sure the margins make sense. Either way, my guy, in your video, you didn't leave any possible doubt that it can be real. I'm sorry, but I did. I would never say for certain what's inside it, because we don't know. We don't know. I can't tell you. I can say that, in my opinion, it's more likely that the contents are not first edition base. It could be resealed. As we saw in this video, the entire thing could be fabricated. We don't know what's on the inside. I'm just saying that the odds are pretty bad that it's first edition base, in my opinion. If you have a different opinion, if you want to be 10,000% sure, that's great. It's going to be up to the owner of the box, which is Logan Paul. So here, 1,000 subscriber YouTuber ruined the 150 million young man because he showed people a box looks painfully fake. LOL. So that's it. It's just like, he wants to say that I'm nothing, that I mean nothing. I don't collect enough sealed vintage product. I don't have enough money to have an opinion on this. But I did research. That's it. You can't have it both ways. You can't say that I'm ruining your credibility, but I'm also not credible and I'm not experienced. Wouldn't people see that? Wouldn't they see through that if I was just BSing? If my evidence and my analysis was bad, wouldn't people call that out? I think they probably would. Nothing ruined me, it's the point. I'm good forever. Well, it's good to hear. I'm glad that you have the funds available, just in case you need to make that refund. And I applaud you for it. So I thought this was pretty interesting here. There was a post made 38 weeks ago when the transaction went on with Shine. Jacob, of course, you gotta post that. You gotta get that. You gotta get those clicks. You gotta get that clout. You gotta meet the big boys. Do a little handshake. Do the handoff of the box. 38 weeks ago. Now, if we take a look, that was on browser, Instagram on browser. If you look on mobile, it'll show you that this is edited 2 weeks ago. That's kind of weird. What could he have changed? 36 weeks later, he's making changes to his post. Sort of odd. Probably right in around the time that Logan Paul stepped in. I don't know what changes he made here. I don't think he's going to tell us. I don't know if anyone knows or has a screenshot of a previous version. I'd love to see it if you do. But here we go. This is my conversation with him, and I asked him, what did you edit here? And I showed him the post, and he said, edit, question mark. What, you don't realize that you edited it? Like, it's got the edit right here. Edit question mark. Like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. So I underlined it for him to make it a little bit more clear what I was talking about. And he said, LOL, I edited spelling. I misspelled something somewhere. You made a spelling mistake, and 36 weeks later, you decided you were going to edit that. I don't know if there's anything here, but I kind of find that hard to believe. Formulate your own opinion. My opinion is that it's weird. I don't understand why you would do that. It seems out of place. All right, back on to BBCE. I'd like to thank Cool Trainer Ryan for the help with these, tracking these down. First up here, we're going to take a look at a graded pack, EX Deoxys. If you guys can't tell, this is painfully fake, and it's graded. It's authenticated. Form your own opinion. Are they Pokemon experts because they do the packs for PSA? Mistakes can happen. But how is it that you can have an entirely fake pack that looks nothing like the real one? Is it because you don't know Pokemon? Next, all right, this is a little bit more applicable. We have a Wizards of the Coast first edition Venusaur pack. Now you would think, it's authentic. There's no way this is resealed, right? And if anyone isn't aware, booster packs are much more beginner friendly, not beginner friendly, but easy to authenticate to make sure that they're not resealed. There's a lot that you can check on them. But this particular one is interesting because it was authenticated and then the owner or the purchaser of this pack opened it up. I don't know if you guys notice anything, but these are not first edition cards. This was a repack. It had base set unlimited cards in it that were played. So how is it? You guys tell me. Should someone that can't even authenticate a first edition base booster pack be doing a case? I know there's a lot of experts that are comfortable checking booster packs, even probably enough so to put their name behind it. But if you can't do this, you probably can't authenticate the booster box, which I guess you've already admitted to not being able to do. But then the case is a whole nother level that no one would even dream of touching. There's no one that should ever put their name on it, in my opinion. But you did. The email address. This is it. From the eBay seller. The seller of the box originally. Jason W. at gatheringground.com. Which is interesting. So not only does this individual have multiple stories of the origin, they also have multiple names. Here we have Jason. Sorry, this is a lot of J names. We had Jacob that purchased, but we also have Jason here that's emailing. This is an email with PSA Pikachu, Jason W. Keep that in mind. And here on the contract that was in reference to, sent by that email address, their name is Justin on the purchase agreement. Was this a mess up? Did they forget which J name they were using, so they accidentally put Justin here instead of Jason? Kind of weird that there's no last name anyway, but just really weird. 2 names, 3 stories. It just keeps getting worse. So here we asked Jacob if his name was Jason. He says no. And I say, so he had multiple stories for the box origin and also used multiple names. He said, no, he didn't. His name is Justin. I have a copy of his ID and a notarized contract. Listen, you can stop doing your investigation. I'm sure you would like that, but I think it's too late. I think the box is going to get open. The case is going to get open. We're going to find out what's inside. Again, no pressure to do so. It's up to the owner of the box. They should consult as many people as they possibly can before they make any decisions. They can take my opinion into consideration if they want to. So the truth comes out next week. The case is being opened at BBCE. Great. I think that's kind of how it should have went down from the beginning, but that's just my opinion. And so I tell him, no, I'm going to keep on it. He says, okay, enjoy. I asked, was his last name Wolfert? He said, LOL, no. Did he contact you with a Gathering Ground email address? He said no. So now he has two email addresses too, or Jacob is lying. It's one or the other. His name was Justin Martin. Okay, all right. So we got one of the two names, at least that they were using with Jacob. Or maybe Jacob didn't notice. Your guess is as good as mine. Sometimes he tells me, sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes I don't know if he's making stuff up. But this is the information that we got. His name is Justin Martin, so here's a picture of him holding the box. It is not my belief that this is the actual seller. I don't know if he had a friend pose with it or what. That'll be in the next video where we dive into that a little bit. But it is my impression or my opinion that this is not the actual owner of the box, the person that sold the box. This is someone else. All right, that gatheringground.com. I think that was a mistake on the seller's part, using that email address. If you guys want to take a guess of what's going on here, this is it. This is gatheringground.com. It's a game store, which looks like it is extremely outdated. We got black and white Next Destinies, which is pretty interesting. I like the animations here. Brings me back to the 90s. Black and white Next Destinies. So looks like that hasn't been updated since something like February of 08 or February 8th, 2012, which is really weird. We have the store location. So how is it that this person is using a Gathering Ground email address for a game store that's in the United States when they're selling items out of Canada? Pretty interesting stuff. So here we go. We got the we can zoom right in here. I don't think it exists anymore, at least in this location. The website, I'm kind of surprised that that's even up. So we can look around here. It looks like, I mean, it doesn't really look like there would be a game store anywhere around here, but maybe in the back. I don't know. It looks more like a storage type area, and I'm not sure what this building is, but I don't see any Pokemon cards being played. Now, this is interesting. The Gathering Ground. Another thing that had somebody done research to this extent, they probably would have seen this. We got a 1 out of 5 stars Gathering Ground review. Just keeps getting sketchier. So I'm going to scroll through these. We're not going to read them, but if you guys want to pause it and read the reviews, essentially they're scamming people. So here you go. The email address used by the seller, the original seller, is a game store that scams people. Yeah, I don't know if this can get any worse. In my opinion. Careful what I say. We'll scroll all the way to the bottom here. We got a lot of 1 out of 5s. Pretty bad rating. So here we go. We got some contact information, some business description for the Gathering Ground Inc. So there we go. We got Jason W., the president of this. It's weird that they're engaged in manufacturing lies, or maybe fake products, manufacturing scams, maybe. Interesting enough, PSA Pikachu and I sent a text to Jason and got a response. He confirmed that he was, in fact, the owner of gatheringground.com, and I guess the store, if it existed at one point or if it still exists, who knows. Then when he brought up the fact that his email address was being used in a sale, nothing, ghosted. So I don't know, did they play a role? Do they know who was using the email address? Was it them using the email address? Were they just thinking someone random was contacting them? And then as soon as they heard about being connected to the other stuff, they got spooked and ran away? No more response? We'll see. We'll see if anything comes of it. Maybe he'll get back to us. Jason, get back to us. Come on, tell us what's up. So here we go. Card Kahuna. Jacob, I asked him, what email address did Justin Martin use to communicate with you? He gave me some laughing, crying emojis. Good luck, buddy. Your 2 minutes of fame is about to expire. Spoke to all the big influencer. No one knows who you are and your insignificant life. Aw, damn. If only they knew who I was. So here's where he kind of wants to have it both ways. He wants to say that I'm insignificant, that my research is sucky wucky, but at the same time, I'm doing damage somehow. I'm not. I want to publish my opinions on the internet. I want to educate the Pokemon community, everyone, not private information behind closed doors, not some little whisper dispers. We're going full on. We're going to show it to everyone. If you disagree with me, that's fine. I'm happy to hear other opinions that are contrary to my own. If I'm wrong on anything, I'll gladly admit it. But this one's looking like I'm pretty right. At least my opinions or my guess. If I had to guess, I would say this is going to be bad when it gets open. So you guys might remember that the seller, the eBay seller, was located in Alberta, which checks out with what Jacob said, where the item was shipped from. I'm sure he checked the label, so if he's being honest with us, I'm sure that's where it came from. The problem with that is there is a known scammer who likes to reseal things. Never cases, but usually booster box, booster packs. And he goes by the name of Polka Butler. This is just a little taste for the next video. We'll do a little taste. It seems our boy here, Micah, as soon as he got wind of the fact that people were connecting him to this, again, that this is where he's located. He's run scams out of Alberta and BC. He decided he was going to hide and or delete his Instagram page. If that's not suspicious, I don't know what is. I don't think you could have, given me any more incentive to find out if you were connected to this. I got a pretty good hunch that you are, and I am going to find out. I'd like to give a special shout out to Brent here from Dexerto, who didn't mention my name in his article about all of this. Go fuck yourself.